CCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Good morning on a Thursday. It's 7:46 right now. That fella over there is somebody you know. And if you're watching on Facebook, you're seeing him right now. He's Jack Benedict, who for all of these many, many years has been the steering wheel for this whole ship.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's our conversation with Jack brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. You have quite the little placard that you put up there in front of our camera as well. What is that?
That is the front cover of my book, which should be out any minute now.
Any minute.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yeah. Yes, that is the cover.
That is the cover. And the book's official title is?
Well, it has my name at the top. My Major League Life in Broadcasting.
There you go. There you go. What a great title. And I'm sure that there are one or two, maybe even three stories about your fabled career in broadcasting in there.
There are a few in there, yes. There are a few in there, and there are a lot of names mentioned about people, down through the years. And, the COVID thing and the pandemic has changed our lives.
You bet.
So when I was on the bench, so to speak, furloughed for 18 months, I needed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing, reading more like you.
Uh-huh.
You've done that all your life. And so I started writing, and I thought, what do I know about? The only thing I know about is me. So I wrote an autobiography.
Uh-huh.
And I went decade by decade, and this story came up, and then that thought, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded each one on my phone, by the way, and then I listened to it and see how did that sound, and so on. And I had no idea what I was going to do with this thing. This is 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, one thing led to another, and here we are, 2.5 years later.
So do you have like a pre-made audio book already?
I do not. I do not have an audio.
Uh-huh.
That's been suggested, but believe me, people that write books, God bless them.
Oh
my God, they're amazing.
What a process.
Yes. And first of all, they're writers.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
So I've worked with, and I asked Randy Jessic, recently retired from IUP, journalism department, and who came to Indiana the same year that I did, almost the same month, I think, 1969. He's from Belle Vernon, and I'm from Mount Pleasant. We're in that area, down in southwestern Pennsylvania. So we related age-wise and everything else, and he's been my editor. And I got to give a lot of credit to my spousal equivalent, Sandy Lear, who has also directed a lot of things for me.
Sure.
And here we are.
Yeah. So the stories come back, and formatting it probably was one of the biggest decisions you had to make. And so you decided on the decade by decade, huh?
Yes, I started out by the fact is, well, here I am sitting, furloughed. What do I do? So on, blah, blah, blah. And then I went from there. So I started kind of like with my childhood. Then I went to which was the 50s and the 60s, the 70s, and so on, to the present day. And it's amazing because I call it's a short but sweet book. You can read it with no problem. It's easy to read, and it has a lot of names in it, which is, I've met a lot of people over the years. I've even apologized in it for if I met you and I didn't mention you, I apologize.
Well, it's the stories that will hit people most of all. And they're going to remember a lot of them and their circumstances, but getting that insider's look at them from your angle is what's really going to make it special.
Well, Todd, the other thing that worked into it is last month in June, I celebrated 60 years in broadcasting. I started in June of 1962, and I thought this would be an appropriate time, and so that kind of all worked in. And then I thought, I want to give back to the community, too, because Indiana's been my second home, and I've lived here longer than I did in Mount Pleasant.
Sure.
So part of the proceeds of the book are going to go to the Indiana County Humane Society and Four-Footed Friends, because my family and Sandy, my girls, my late wife Phyllis, we all feel very strongly about animals. And so I approached the two organizations, and they were ecstatic. Oh, we love that,
Oh, yeah.
So people that don't have children, they have animals. Those are their children.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. And it should be out any day. I'm waiting.
And where will people be able to get it?
Well, several things. That's the thing. The promotion on it. I've made a lot of contacts, and a lot of people have responded and given me coverage on it and so on. But I'm going to have it at the Book Nook. I talked with those folks. It'll be there. I'm going to have some here at the radio station. I have some book signings. One will be with the Kiwanis Club next week. And then I have two set up with the Co-op store over at IUP. And one's going to be on August the 22nd, which is moving day. And then I'm going to have one in homecoming at IUP. And those books will be available at the Co-op store. I'm working with some other grocery stores to see they've got to get back to me. It may be there. So it'll be out and about.
Yeah. And
I'm going to give my email if folks want to contact me, because I have some that I'm going to be sent out to some people in my life that relatives. I don't have too many relatives left, but I'm easy to find at J.A. Benedict, the number 42. We know why that's there, at gmail.com.
Say it again. J.A. Benedict 42.
J.A. Benedict 42 at gmail.com. And if you're interested, you want to contact me, we'll get you something.
I'm sure you'll be happy to autograph them for them as well.
It would be my pleasure to do that if they so desire.
Now let's get to the putting together of this book, because you had to decide, I'm sure, very early in the process, am I going to contact folks and talk to them about the incident, say a game in 1983 that was really, really exciting, and I'm going to be talking about that, so I want to talk to the people who were involved in it, or is it your memories of that broadcast event?
It's mostly my memories, and I've gone back to double-check facts. Randy and I and Sandy, we've gone over this time and proofread again and again, and you're bound to have something maybe turn up. But fortunately, I've been blessed with a good memory. I don't know about anything else. And, I've just been blessed all the way around. But I've done that. And I have a chapter called We Remember Them, where I bring back names both of relatives, people that I've been associated with who are no longer with us. I've double-checked, the facts on them, those sorts of things. So, and the other thing is I didn't know anything about books, publishing, whatever. I mean, I'm more aware of it now.
Yeah.
And you have read all your life and so on. Wow, I didn't know about this and that and copyright and so on. And publishers out of Latrobe, wonderful people called Laurel Valley Graphics, who have worked with people in Indiana County before, and they've worked some with IUP too.
Yeah.
So, and they've, really given me a lot of great answers to a lot of questions that I've had.
Over the many years, of course, you've had so many different broadcast partners that I'm sure Bill Betts is going to be one of the standout stories that we read, and a recurring character, I'm sure, throughout the book. And I think of him right away and your partnership with him. But wow, the people that you've worked with.
Oh, no question about it. And, with Ray Goss, who hired me not once but twice.
Yeah.
So I guess I got it right the first time. I don't know. And Bill, stories with Bill and so many people, bus rides, things of that nature.
Airplane flights.
Oh, yes.
One of them, anyway.
And just so many people, John Flickinger worked with me for so long. And then, of course, with Abby, how about Goose, Goose Goslin.
People might not remember Goose, but he was a big part of IUP football broadcast for a lot of years.
Yes, and one of the things, he when he was a student, when I started at WDAD in 1969, he was working with a rotation of part-timers from 10 to 1 at WDAD. So he went out for football one spring year with Coach Neal, and he used the name of Lumps Galore. So
that was his quote stage name.
Yeah, and sadly he passed away some years ago suddenly, and he was a character. And then of course we've had our what we called our love van, and that's the group of us media people that traveled, and Mike Hoffman, the former SID, is in there with a few.
Yep.
So there are names
some great
about
names, some great names that you've worked with down through the years. I think of course the IUP connection. Larry Judge was somebody who was very, very more than just a little bit helpful.
Yes, and we lost Larry just a few years ago, and Larry Ryan Rebholz, who is actually, I'm going over to see him this morning after I leave here. And he's ending his tenure as the sports information director.
Yeah.
And moving on. And he's been here like 11 years. Mike was there. Al King.
Sure.
Al's the athletic director at Ashland, and IUP has set up a 4-year matchup, home and home, starting home and away next year with his university. So like I said, you're bound to leave somebody out, but I tried my best. From that standpoint. Yeah.
Well, after the book is out and people are able to get it, you're going to come back and visit with us again about it?
I will. Yeah, I will. In fact, I want to mention that I have it listed as $18. And as I said, part of the proceeds go to the Humane Society and Four Footed Friends, both of Indiana County. I can mail out some, and so with the cost there would be $21.50. And I will come back, sure, absolutely, because then after you read it, and it won't take you long, but I think you'll get a few chuckles out of it.
Sure.
And memories, and that's that's pretty much what it's all about.
Can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. We're just about out of time this hour, but again, if you want to give the book signing dates again and
yes, I'll be with the Kiwanis Club next week, and that's their group, and I thank them a lot for inviting me. That'll be next Tuesday, but coming up in August, which is move-in day, and that's going to be at the Co-op store. And that's going to be on August the 20th, which is a Saturday.
Okay.
And then on Homecoming, which is October 1st. And we're going to do that in the morning from 10 to noon.
Beautiful. He's Jack Benedict, and there you go. You can look at it on Facebook and see what the cover looks like. Pretty soon you'll be able to get your hands on it, too. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks, Todd.
It's Indiana in the Morning.
Free gas. Free gas. Your hometown radio station's Renda Media is giving away $1,500 in gas, and you could win big. It's the Fill Up Your Summer Gas Sweepstakes. The rules are simple. Stop by a participating business, scan the QR code on your cell phone, and register. It's that easy. Once registered, you have